Hi, everybody. Jeff Reinhardt here, back with you again for another edition of LL Football Roundtable. What is this, week 12? The playoff edition? Wow, we're sailing right along here. Thanks to Bobby Rahal Lexus, the sponsor this fall for us for LL Football. Appreciate it very much. Coming to you from Annville-Cleona. This is one of the most cool, quaint, awesome spots that I love coming to see Dutchmen practice out here behind the school. They got a really cool facility. Huge week for Annville-Cleona. They're in a district championship game. Dutchmen will play for 2A gold on Friday night, hopefully Friday night. Check the forecast against Trinity, good team out of Mid-Penn, also having a really great year. But Annville-Cleona is going to play for district gold on Friday night. Knock on wood, so we wanted to come here and talk all things Dutchmen. They've had a great season. And the coach is Matt Gingrich, and he's an awesome guy, and he's here to join us. G, how are you?
Good, very good. Appreciate you coming out.
Absolutely.
In our beautiful place.
This is awesome. It's quaint. You got the
is.
woods back here and the trees.
My daily run is back there on the creek, so I go back there every day, every morning.
Awesome.
Yeah, this is my favorite place to be.
I love it. Very tranquil.
Yes.
Okay. Dutchmen, break it down. Here you are. You're playing for District Gold.
Yeah.
How fun is this for you?
This is awesome. This is what we dreamed of. This was our goal from the beginning of the year. We talked about this winter when we knew that we were going down to Double-A. We thought we had a chance, and here we are. So we had some hiccups on the way, but they were different than past years. Like these kids, they don't give up anything easily. So 3 losses, but they were all fights, and couldn't be prouder of them.
Going into the season, we always had the goal of making the playoffs and getting here. So now that we're here, it's a really special feeling. This is a really special group of guys, really special season that we have going on.
It's like really never happened here to like make it this far. But I mean, like last year and the years before, maybe like 3 games to go to the district final, but yet again we had to do it in 2 games. But it's still like a great accomplishment from last year going like, I don't know, 3-7, and then this year having like a better record and being the number 1 seed and beating Camp Hill as like much as we did, 42-13. So I thought it was pretty fun.
Let's break it down a little bit. I think you throw their record out because they're all so hot and they're playing really well. Give us some X and O's, give us some breakdowns. What kind of game are you expecting here? Sounds like a slugfest to me.
I would say it's going to be a slugfest. Trinity is really good up front. They have some really good specialists. They have some really good running backs. Number 1, he's a very solid running back from what we saw in film. They're tough. But yeah, I'd say slugfest would be a good way to say how this game is going to go. It's going to be a 4-quarter game for sure. There's going to be ups and downs, so it's just going to be how both teams respond for sure.
You get a chance to play at home as well, and I kind of kidded about the weather, but there is rain in the forecast. But you earned the chance to play here on your home turf. How important will that for you to be to get that home game on your grass over the hill there?
We'd like to play this game here no matter what. Our alternative seed to Crest, but that's the alternative, so we're going to try and play it. Now, a couple years ago, we played Bermudian Springs in a deluge, and I'd like to see a district championship in nice weather. So I'm hoping either Friday or Saturday here, and it means a lot. I'd love our town to be able to come out and get to see a district championship because I don't know. This hasn't happened in all the years, so who knows when it's going to happen again.
And we're back from Annville-Cleona, which will play for a district championship this week. Thanks to Tyler and Rhines for hanging out with those folks, including the inestimable Phoenix Music. This is the LL Football Roundtable. We're back in the studio, brought to you by Bobby Rahal Lexus. And to my left is John Walk. To my right is Jeff Reinhardt. My name is Mike Gross. I'll be hosting these proceedings, and these guys will be sharing their expertise on high school football. And right now, we're talking about district playoffs, which began for a few of our teams last week.
Yes.
For a lot of our teams, will be in action this week. Rhines,
Busy.
What did you witness a week ago?
Last week, several teams were eliminated and out now. Three LLs advanced. Hamburg won. They get YO this weekend in 3A. Tip of the cap to Cocalico, got to see them. And Annville-Cleona, which will play here for the championship this week against Trinity. Got to see Cocalico. They played
Great performance by their defense against this team that has really played some great offense.
Lit it up. I mean, E-Town was tops in the league in O the whole fall, like from week 1. But Cocalico played really well, and we kind of saw this coming last week. We talked about it. They had won 3 in a row. They figured out their running game. Their O-line was playing great. They were coming off a shutout against Weiser, and it all happened Friday night over at E-Town. Immediately, opening kickoff right down the field, 75 yards, boom, touchdown. Get a turnover, get it right back. 60, 70 yards again, right down the field, boom, touchdown, 14-0.
Yeah.
And that's a lot to come back on against Cocalico because they can really stuff it and run it. And Sam Steffi was great, 174 yards, 2 touchdowns. Josh Meyer, the quarterback. Cocalico's kind of juggled QBs here, but the last 3-4 weeks they've gone to Josh Meyer. He's figured it out, really running the Veer game well, rush for 99, 3 TD keepers. He was really good. So Cocalico wins.
The proverbial team peaking at the right time.
Right,
and we're really seeing that.
I think we all would have said going into this with Cocalico, throw out the seed, throw out the record. Program. They're here, they win, they figured out this time of year, they run the ball, and they play some good D. And here's Cocalico, and that's a team that I don't think I want any part of right now. They get Gettysburg this week. We'll see how that goes. But Hamburg, as mentioned, advances, and Annville-Cleona here. That was their second district win ever in program history. Now they go and they play for a championship. We're not sure when the game's going to be quite yet. We're going to get some rain Friday, looks like it.
Right.
That game could be
That's
Saturday.
going to be a factor this weekend.
Absolutely, because they have a grass surface there. It's probably going to be muddy and slick.
And they will be hosting.
They will host, and
it's the district final.
Yes.
Because there's only 4 teams make districts in that class.
Exactly, and we were there talking with them this week, and they said, hey, we earned the 1 seed. We earned the home game. This is our stadium. We want to play in it. Please don't move us because it's raining. We want to take advantage of our grass field and play.
Whip you.
Yeah. Nice one, John.
Very subtle by John. Very subtle.
Yes. Tip of the cap to Annville. They've been a great story, and we'll see how they make out here with Trinity. That's a big game.
Okay, let's take a look at what's coming next.
A lot.
A lot. That's right. We're not going to get to all of it because that would be, like a mini series, not a round table. But we'll get to some of the games that we think are worth mentioning in the context of the big picture. Starting in 6A, Hempfield and Carlisle. John.
All right. Thundering Herd of Carlisle comes into this as an 8 seed, 6-4 overall, going up against Hempfield, 8-2 overall. Hempfield, the number 1 seed. Going back over some history, and maybe Jeff can correct me on this, but Hempfield, should they win these next 2, the last time they played for a District 3 crown was?
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
1984.
I knew it was in the 80s.
2 weeks in a row I stumped you. I'm shocked. Okay. Far away from even being born at this point. Anyway, last meeting between these clubs was?
You're stumping me hard.
2009. Hempfield beat Carlisle 31-20. Getting into the matchup, we like Hempfield on both sides of the ball. Again, a team that doesn't dazzle you in terms of numbers and stats because Mike made a good point last time we talked about them a handful of weeks ago where they really prepare for the opponent that they are playing. So they're going to look at Carlisle. Okay, quarterback Lewis Shank for the Thundering Herd, 60% passer, 816 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 pick. So they like to keep it on the ground. Team is averaging about 135 rushing yards per game. Jeremiah Hargrave and Jacquees Morel each have 800 plus yards and 9 touchdowns. So it's a team that likes to run the ball. Hempfield's faced a bunch of teams that like to run the ball. I like their defense in this matchup. Jackson Landis at quarterback for Hempfield. Grant Hoover at running back for Hempfield, wide receiver Micah Gates, Andy Garcia, Julian Morales, Gabe Benjamin. Those are the familiar names that you guys should be looking out for here. I wouldn't be surprised if next Friday we're talking Hempfield and Township.
Neither would I.
That would be the matchup. That would be the matchup if they both win on Friday.
And this is the time of year last year.
And I would think Hempfield is the favorite here. I mean,
game.
Carlisle has 4 losses. I mean, they're good, but anything on that game, Ryan?
Keep an eye on Hempfield's defense.
Yeah.
They're shutting down the run, and you saw them last year in districts. This is last year. This is when they turned it up a notch and shut teams down and flashed their D and said,
Yep.
Yeah, not real. They're not the flashiest team.
For whatever it's worth, there's one common opponent, York High.
Yeah.
Hempfield beat York High way back in week 1 or 2, very narrowly, 35-32. Carlisle lost to York High narrowly, 54-47. So
love Hempfield here. I think they've. Yeah. This is their time now.
They're having a great year. Yeah. They're having a great year. We thought they might, and they if anything, have exceeded expectations. Yes. Now, as we mentioned a minute ago, if they win, they would play the winner of Cumberland Valley and Manheim Township, which these teams played week 1, and I covered that game. And I really thought at the time that it was a bad loss for Township. It was a bad close loss. They were on a 2-yard line at the end, near the end, with a chance to go in, and they couldn't punch it in. Their trouble running the ball has been a problem, but I think it's gotten a little better over the course of the year. And their passing game is really good. It's really well conceived, and this is a pretty even game. Cumberland Valley lost to Harrisburg, and Township beat Harrisburg for whatever that's worth. So pretty even game, I think.
CV's 1-2 in their last 3, so they didn't exactly.
Yeah, they have not.
storm
That's
into
right.
this. Payback game, revenge game. It's funny, when I covered Township Harrisburg on the field after the game up at Harrisburg, I eavesdrop. And Evans was telling the kids, great win, we just beat Harrisburg. And he said, guys, remember this game and remember what happened at Cumberland Valley back in the week before. He said, we're going to get one of these 2. He said,
They could conceivably get both of them.
They could.
Yeah.
He said, we're going to get one of these 2 in 8 or 9 weeks. So don't forget that. Don't forget this feeling. And turns out here they get Cumberland Valley again. Love Township's passing attack. Wrote about it a little bit this week. Johnson's been amazing. They don't kill you deep. No go routes.
No, that's
seam
right.
routes.
It's a very good passing
intricate
game, but it's short stuff.
Yeah.
It's West Coast-ish almost.
Yeah. And if it's it could be rainy again. It was rainy and stormy that night in August, which would be too bad.
And we're not sure if that how that affects the passing game, because people would argue that if you're running a route and you know where you're going, that's an advantage on a slippery surface against the guy that's trying to react to where you're going. Who knows?
Who knows is
We'll
right.
see.
Like Township, though, in the revenge factor.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
they're very focused. And they haven't gotten a ton of pub because it's been Hempfield and Wilson beat them. And here's Township. They're just kind of, okay, here we are.
Yep.
And big stage.
And just quickly mention the other 6A game involving our team is Wilson and Harrisburg. They're in the other half
That's
of the
Saturday.
bracket.
Yep. Wilson has lost to Harrisburg 3 times in a row in districts for their season to be out, to be over.
Very good.
So they are due to beat the Cougars. That's a fun game on Saturday.
5A, let's feature Solanco, undefeated Solanco.
Yeah.
And they'll take on Shippensburg, a school that seems to be, this school is growing a little bit in population, but also they've been good in sports lately. They're in one of those up cycles. They had real good basketball last year. They're 8-3 right now. Any thoughts, John?
First off, Shippensburg, all name team. Quarterback, Tucker. Running back, Trayvon. Running backs, Amari and Diesel.
Sweet.
And leading wide receiver, Irby. So kudos to the Greyhounds. All name. We talk about Phoenix music every week.
Oh, yeah,
Best
we do.
They got 4 Phoenix musics on this roster. All right, Tucker Chamberlain, quarterback, 1,400 pass yards, 15 touchdowns, 8 picks, 52% passer. They have 3 really good running backs in Trayvon Cater, Amari Kerr, and Diesel Kozer. Cater's the one who's gone over 1,000. Kerr and Kozer have combined for 1,000. So right there's 3 backs who have combined for more than 2,000 yards and 20 plus touchdowns. So they can run the ball. Hey, so can Solanco, and they probably do it a lot better. Yeah. Brody Mellinger at quarterback, Cole Harris, and Josiah Foreign out of the backfield. Those guys, we know them in the triple option. So it's basically who can run the ball a lot better. We'd probably like Solanco's chances.
Might be a fast
there.
game.
Right.
Could be a very fast game. Yeah. For me now, and I think I used this the other day, it's money time for Solanco. Here you go. What do you got? Great regular season.
Yeah,
got your second
you
title.
you earned the right to be here
Yep.
and be in the big leagues. And
Now win
here
a
we go.
district game, get to a Final Four, stay on a collision path to play Exeter, probably, wink wink. But here it is, go time,
Yeah.
money time. This isn't such and such section game in September. This is big time football district game for Solanco. Best rush defense wins, period.
Now,
Both
when
teams
would
are
Exeter and Solanco meet?
final?
In the final.
Yeah, they're
only
one.
in the
They're
final.
1-2.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Exeter is the 1 seed, and they play Dover, which is 9-2.
And they had a good win against Garden Spot last week.
Yeah, they did.
Rolled
They
up 40
did.
points.
That was an eye opener a little bit. And then the other one, of course, as we mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
is Cocalico and Gettysburg, and the winner of that game would get the winner of the Solanco game. Yeah.
And Solanco beat Cocalico 21-7 or something like that back in like week 2 or week 3.
4A, Central and York Suburban. Rhymes.
How do you say this kid's name, John? Benevenia?
Benevegna?
Yeah,
I certainly
Bentivegna?
hope his family is looking in.
I know.
Yeah.
He lived up to the hype last week, didn't he, against
Yeah.
Donegal?
He went nuts, yeah.
382 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Wow.
That's staggering. So, but now they have to kind of go behind enemy lines and go to Elton Ratu and take
Big
on
step
Anaheim
up.
Central.
Big step up in class,
Central's
yeah.
D's been really good, and they have prided themselves over the years on shutting down big backs, 100-yard backs. Central's a little fired up here. They lost heartbreaker to Exeter. They had a week to sit around and stew with a great offense of their own.
And Exeter in that game, the running back Richie Karstein
Yeah.
really took it to Central, especially in the first quarter. They shut him down in the second quarter. He came back out, had a
Yeah.
monster second half. It wasn't anything, Nick Singleton-esque. It was more like 3 yards here, 5 yards here, 6
That's
yards
Richie.
here. However, Exeter's O-line, I would think, is
Good.
probably much larger than what the Suburban
Suburban's gonna
O-line
bring
is.
probably
So,
neat number here for this game. Central and Bishop McDevitt, which plays East Pennsboro. McDevitt and Central are both going for their 60th District 3 wins this week. 60.
60.
All time.
6-0. That's
a
not
lot.
bad.
Last
And they're in
week-
the opposite half of the bracket. They would only
Yeah, that
play
would only
in the
be
final.
final.
They would only play in the final.
Central winner gets the LS Susquehanna Township winner.
Yeah.
So LS could play Central next week.
Yeah, and I mean, I saw Susquehanna Township play last year, and unless they made one of the great turnarounds in the history of sports on Earth, I've got to believe that LS is a pretty prohibitive.
Yeah, me
favorite
too.
there. Yeah.
I'll take their defense
Yeah.
any day.
Yeah.
John, you had a question? You got a point?
Suburban last week beating Donegal, I believe that was their first district playoff win since 1986.
86, you said last week.
Yeah, they don't have a great football tradition.
And now they're walking into Elton Ratu on a
Right.
Friday night in November to play the Barons. I'm anxious to see where Central's at, because they had
Yeah,
such
that's a good
roll.
point. That's a good
9
point.
weeks, they just destroyed everybody.
Yeah.
And lost a tough one.
I agree.
If they're
It'll be
focused,
interesting to see where they're at. It's not necessarily, oh, we're fired up because we got beat. It's a lot going on, especially with having the last week off.
Yeah.
It's a little weird. Weird. And then the last one that we want to talk about is Annville-Cleona in playing for the district title.
Yeah.
We think,
Yeah,
given the weather,
gonna guess Saturday
and
on-
playing Trinity. What can you tell us about Trinity
Trinity.
other than that they're pretty good?
yeah, great schedule.
Yeah.
They played Roman Catholic. They played YO. The teams that they've lost to are 36-5. So
Yeah.
they've played a really good
Yeah,
schedule. And
they're
if you-
good. That's a tough spot. But Annville is at home.
They
And,
are.
Yeah,
They are.
they've
And
had
they-
a heck of a year.
And they have Mr. Music, and I've been looking at this all week. I think he's the 5th 2,000-yard rusher. You asked last week about 2,000-yard kids in the LL. I have him as the 5th. Roman Clay, Kevin Kelly, Mark Royer from Central. I forget, but he's the 5th kid to do it.
All right.
Since 2011. So that's a pretty
Any
cool
thoughts
list.
on the not so little Dutchman, Jones?
I've seen Annville-Cleona, I think 3 times this year. The first time being against Elko in a game that they were winning by 3 touchdowns and then ultimately lost. That was way back in week 2. And then they went week 9 to Schuylkill Valley, took it to them. And I've been really impressed with them since then, kind of looking over their schedule. That one 14-13 loss to unbeaten Lancaster Catholic. Annville should have won that game, should have, could have, had they, take 1 or 2 mistakes away. This is a really good Annville team. After I saw them beat Schuylkill Valley, looking ahead, they were number 1 in the district at that point, going into week 10. Said this is a team that could win a district final. So I didn't know their playoff history or lack thereof. So
Not
holy
much.
cow.
It's only their second win in the semis. The Trinity kid is Messiah Mickens, the running back, ninth grader, already has an offer from Texas A&M.
And for whatever it's worth,
Look
I
out.
know in boys lacrosse last spring when Trinity played at LS in the playoffs, Trinity was probably the scrappiest team I had seen on a boys lacrosse field. So maybe that carries over to the gridiron.
Maybe.
We kind of skipped over AAA, so let's just quickly mention we have an all LL game on this weekend. YO and Hamburg. YO's pretty good. You may have heard.
Yeah, they're good.
They're decent.
Yeah.
And the other one is Lancaster Catholic with a tough spot given the seed and the year they playing West
West Perry's
Perry, which is a
pretty
10-1 team that has played a decent schedule. That's a tough spot for the Crusaders.
Yeah, I heard West Perry is very aggressive up front, trench team. Quaker, the quarterback, second all time in the program in passing. 1,000-yard back, 1,000-yard receiver. I mean, Wes Perry's bringing a squad here to Lancaster. Hamburg, they advanced last week, scored 49 against Upper Dauphin.
Yeah.
Pierce Mason's back. He rushed for 260 and 4 touchdowns. Tall task with YO.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. YO's
Yikes.
something
YO,
else.
Mike Drago stat. YO's won 31 in a row against Hamburg. 31 years in a row they've beaten them. Wow.
That's
Now they
pretty
get the
good. This
districts.
just in. That's pretty good.
That's not bad.
All right, the herd will start thinning here soon, gang. We promise. Next week, we'll be back to break down these games, look ahead to whatever remains. This has been the LL Football Roundtable. That man is John Walk. That man is Jeff Reinhardt. I'm Mike Gross, and we're brought to you, as always, by Bobby Ray Hall Lexus. See you later.